Oh man. All right, us get this started. We're gonna get this started today, right? It is Monday, February, February 9th, 2026. I am beat up. I'm tired. Um, Worked all weekend. I did a race this weekend in the cold. A 5K, 32 degrees outside, and I won first place for my age group, right? I'm pretty proud of that. Really proud of that, actually. And the weekend's got me beat up. It's got me thinking, there are days you wake up tired, right? Not just physically tired, but that deep, kind of heavy, heavy kind where everything just feels like effort. Your body is sore. Your mind feels foggy. Emotionally, you are down. And the thought of doing all the work feels overwhelming, right? So instead of asking yourself to do everything, right, you consider doing nothing. And here's the moment that matters. You didn't need motivation. You just needed movement, not an hour, not a perfect plan, just 3 minutes. Because 3 minutes beats zero. 3 minutes of follow up, 3 minutes of organizing, 3 minutes of showing up when quitting would have been easier. That small bet, that small action doesn't just check a box. It changes your state. It reminds you that you're still in control. And once you start moving, momentum quietly shows up beside you. Today isn't about winning big. It's about not stopping. Oh, I think that's kind of my opening thoughts today on, you know, building momentum and just uh, keeping keeping moving when it comes to doing the work, right? Because today, I woke up tired. I didn't want to do the work. I wanted to stay in bed. I might get back in bed, not gonna lie, after I complete my morning tasks, but at the same time, you know, we can't be Superman all the time, Superwoman, Wonder Woman. We can't be. You can't be hero all the time. You need to rest. You need to listen to your body. And I will have, done the work, done some of the work, got the work done that had to get done, and um, and took some time for me, and that's okay. You're gonna need those days. We all um, need those days. Like I was talking about earlier, I did that race this weekend, and I worked all weekend. And that race that was cold, like it was tough. Like not gonna lie, a little bit sore from it, and no, but I got through it, and I'm really happy with what I was able to accomplish this weekend. Um, but this morning when I didn't want to do it, I said, let me start getting done what I can get done, right? And I was scheduling texts, to be like, all right, this goes out at the appropriate hour, right? I didn't want to text my clients at 7 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to, um, say, hey, let them get the text 8 or 8:30 or 9, whatever time the text was scheduled, depending on which client I was going to. And, and then after doing that for a few minutes, I started feeling a little better, right? I was probably a little bit of the coffee. Cheers. Mm, but it got me moving and it got me feeling better. So when you're, having those hard days and you just don't want to do anything, do a little bit of work. In my midday slump, right? One of the things what I want to talk about today is, when do you usually stall during the day, right? Like, hey, usually after lunch, right? When I'm sitting there and I'm feeling run down and beat up, I will actually, like I guess, food coma. I'll walk my dog. I get up, get the blood flowing. That is so incredibly important for staying energized and keeping moving, keeping motivated. I think that's why I am so motivated. I'm able to continue doing what I do for as long as I have because I work out so much, and I keep my body going. I push as hard as I can, and I will continue to push as hard as I can for as long as I can. But so, like I was saying, like didn't want to do it this morning. And just that little bit of work got me moving, got me motivated, and it kept me going. So think about for you, where do you stall in the daytime, right? What holds you back from achieving your goals? And then what is there a 3 minute, a 1 minute action, 3 minute action? What works for you? 5 minute action, 10 minute walk. What keeps you going? What action can help you get there? And I think a 3 minute action is good. Good morning, Miss Fati.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Tired.
Well,
I'm gonna get back in bed after this.
okay. Well, don't forget we do have a 11 o'clock meeting at the office.
Do we have to do it at the office?
Yes.
Why do we have to do it? All right, we'll talk about that after we get off the call.
We got
Uh,
at the office because it's a neutral ground and it's a professional setting so we can stay on track.
we'll talk about it after we get off the call. Um, so hey, today's 3 minute drills. 3 minutes beats zero. I mean, not 3 minute drills. Well, we'll talk about 3 minute drills here in a second. And restalling, you know, stalled days, stalled moments, removing resistance, and just having you know, wins, small wins, throughout the day. You know, are there days, when you go through it, is there a time of day for you that you find like, hey, wow, I kind of stall out at this time of day?
No, not really. Um, it's easy when you follow a schedule so that you prevent that.
Hmm.
So following the production schedule prevents you from doing that. And
I
that's
agree.
effective, huh?
Oh no, I definitely agree. But like for instance, like I mentioned, I was just kind of talking before you got on, and one of the times I know, like in the daytime, like is after lunch. Sometimes I can feel run down, and specifically if I'm working from home, I'll take the doggos on a walk after lunch because that helps get the blood flowing, right? Like it helps. It's just kind of an activity to change my environment and get me, um, feeling energized. So, if you ever have those times of day where you feel like, oh, it's like, I do recognize like, hey, this is the time of day that it happens, and it can happen. Maybe it doesn't. That's awesome. What about just are there just times where you feel like you are stalling out and just can't do the work or don't want to do the work?
No, not really.
Never.
No, I don't think it's never wanting to do the work. I always want to do the work. It's just being exhausted, like, because there is so much to do. And I think
Hmm.
a lot of times people mistaken like being exhausted with procrastination and not wanting to do the work. So when you misdiagnose yourself or you misidentify something, then you're sitting there, then you're further beating yourself up. Especially Kimberly, that's one thing that she was doing. She was working like crazy, right? So when she
Hmm.
was taking a break because she was super exhausted because of everything that she was doing, she called her, she said that she identified that as procrastinating. And I'm like, how is that procrastinating? All you do is work. You're
Hmm.
exhausted from the work. Your mind is constantly working because you're always thinking about, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. People burn out, people crash out. And sometimes they identify that as not wanting to do the work. And it's unfortunate because that's not the case.
Hmm. Yeah. No, no. I mean, that's absolutely true. Um, And at the same time, you have to be able to identify what is it exhaustion or is it like avoiding the work that you should be doing, and then that can be a difficult line to figure out at times for people. So
Yeah. But you also got to ask yourself, like, I think that's what it comes down to is like introspection and being emotionally aware and knowing yourself really well, right?
mhm.
Because why wouldn't you want to do the work?
And there's a whole lot of reasons for people not wanting to do the work. Fear is a big one. fear of just um, fear of the unknown, fear of, people have fear of calls where you say, well, why would you? I had a fear of calls, right? Like I didn't want to do the calls. Um, and there are plenty of people who don't like making calls for whatever reason it is. Don't want to bother people. They don't want to or annoy them, or I don't have anything of value to add. And that can be a reason that people don't do the work. Um, so whatever it is that you find, if you find a reason that something's stalling you out, then finding a way to overcome that, and like one of the things that was just like today's is all about, having a 3 minute action. What's something that will get you going? Like I was, this morning I was super exhausted and I didn't want to do anything, but I started sending out texts, like scheduling texts to get sent. So I was like, I'm gonna get this moving, right? And then it started building momentum right there. When I didn't want to do anything, it was just by doing a little bit, and I know that you start doing a little bit of work, that usually, at least for me, it will usually create momentum and keep me going. So, is there anything you specifically want to cover today?
Um, no, just no. I'm getting ready to go to the office, so I'm kind of distracted. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, then no one else has jumped on, so if you want to jump off, and I'll just wrap up the call, and um, we'll talk here in a few.
Okay, sounds good. Bye.
Bye. So, hey, gonna keep it quick today, which is fine, right? On a day I'm exhausted, like I said, recognizing when you're exhausted. So, hopefully, you had a chance to watch this at some point. Maybe who knows? Maybe I'll just be the only one watching this myself. But here's what I want you to take with you today. You don't need a great day to make progress, right? You don't need energy, clarity, or motivation. Maybe you need clarity, but you just need a small action. 3 minutes is enough to restart a stalled day. 3 minutes is enough to remind you who you are. 3 minutes is enough to build momentum when everything in you wants to shut down. If today feels heavy, let it be heavy, but don't let it be zero. Do one small thing and let that turn into the next, because consistency isn't built on your best days. It's built on days like this when you show up anyway. 3 minutes beats zero every time.